Transilvanian hunger.
Welcome back, all you black metal enthusiasts. Here we are for the third and final installment of my Darkthrone Unholy Trinity review series. For those who are unaware, Darkthrone's Unholy Trinity includes 1992's A Blaze in the Northern Sky, 1993's Under a Funeral Moon, which I reviewed in the last video, and 1994's Transilvanian Hunger, which I will be reviewing today. And joining me to help me review this record is my good friend Lane from the Smooth Criminal channel.
Hi fuckers, it's your favorite irrelevant YouTuber here, the Smooth Criminal. I'm here on Landon's channel to talk about this absolutely fantastic record and give my personal thoughts on it. So yeah, let's get into my personal thoughts on Transilvanian Hunger.
If you want to know the history of the band, I recommend you watch the first episode, as I will not be explaining it in this video. This album is without a doubt the most well-known of the Unholy Trinity. This album was released in 1994 alongside legendary black metal albums such as Mayhem's De Mysteris Dom Satanas and Emperor's In the Nightside Eclipse. Following the departure of guitarist Zephyrus, this would be the debut of Darkthrone as a duo. This album features the legendary Nocturnal Culto on vocals and Fenris on drums, bass, and guitar. Fenris also appears on the album cover. This album also features Burzum artist Varg Vikernes, as he wrote lyrics for the album. This record would also be the last album made under Peaceville Records.
So Transilvanian Hunger is considered by many to be Darkthrone's greatest achievement, and while A Blaze in the Northern Sky may take my pick for favorite Darkthrone album, this one is by far the most influential and well-known. It's the template for so many other bands that followed it, and it's extremely easy to see why.
Some controversies among this album include the similarities of the Transilvanian Hunger album cover and Mayhem's album Live in Leipzig. One other would be in the track As Flittermice to Satan's Spies, where the end of the song has very audible background vocals that, when reversed, say, "In the name of God, let the churches burn."
In the name of God, let the churches burn.
This album, I'd say, is the most unique of the Trinity, with once again influences from more notably bands like Bathory. This album is the most raw, cold, and lo-fi of the Trinity. As opposed to being recorded in a studio, Transilvanian Hunger was recorded on a 4-track recorder in Fenris's bedroom. Culto comes back with his iconic, harsh, and raspy black metal voice that everyone loves. One difference on this album is that aside from two songs, those being the title track Transilvanian Hunger and As Flittermice to Satan's Spies, the entire album is in Norwegian. Because of this, I will be pronouncing all the album names with their rough translations in English, with the actual titles on screen.
The album is incredibly atmospheric and creates absolutely amazing soundscapes, specifically on the title track As Flittermice to Satan's Spies and Over Mountains and Through Thorns.
This album, in my opinion, has the best tracklist of the Unholy Trinity. The entire album is banger upon banger, and I always found myself not wanting it to end. Fenris switches it up on the album with constant tremolo picking throughout the record, which leads to the record being heavily riff-based. He also gives some constant blast beats throughout the album, but the focus is mostly on the grim guitar riffs and tone. The entire album in itself sounds like pure torment, and it is amazing. The bass in this album is super minimalist, but unlike A Blaze in the Northern Sky, it's still audible, and heavily enjoyable. This album also gets rid of the increasing and decreasing tempos that featured on both of the previous albums. This album had very split decisions from the community, with many upon many saying that this is the best of Darkthrone's Unholy Trinity, and Darkthrone's discography as a whole. Some have also said that due to the production on this record, that it was the worst album. In my humble opinion, this regularly competes with A Blaze in the Northern Sky for my favorite. Some complaints I've heard about this album is that it was very repetitive and has lack of variety, making it unenjoyable and boring to listen to.
While the album is very repetitive, the sections that are repeated are exceptional, being the most melodic guitar work from Darkthrone's discography up to that point. A lot of the guitar lines are really catchy and will instantly get stuck in your head, and the songs are overall structured really well. 6 of the 8 tracks are in Norwegian, so I can't comment too much on the lyricism here, but chances are it's probably super cringe and edgy bullshit given Varg Vikernes' involvement. The lyrics are the main focus of Darkthrone's music in the first place, though. It's always been about the evil sound and textures. And that brings me to Nocturnal Culto's vocals, which are in my opinion the best his vocals have ever sounded. An argument could be made for his performance on the previous record, Under a Funeral Moon, but his vocal work on this album perfectly encapsulates what a black metal vocal should sound like in my eyes.
Although the riffs do all in some way sound the same and could get repetitive, it's such an enjoyable change from the previous two albums that to me, it's really pleasant to hear. I'd say if you're looking for more variety, listen to A Blaze in the Northern Sky, and if you want more pure black metal, listen to Under a Funeral Moon. But if you want a pure, blistering, mind-fuckingly cold and grim album, Transilvanian Hunger is exactly what you're looking for. I understand exactly why this album is as popular as it is, and it should be a listen to anyone looking to get into black metal.
They're animalistic, piercing, and sound fantastic despite the literal potato production. However, Fenris is definitely the one carrying this record on his back. He wrote the lyrics to the first 4 tracks and does all of the instrumentation here as well. He's an incredible asset to the band, and this record proves his amazing musicianship tenfold. Now overall, is this album perfect? No, I wouldn't say so. As I said earlier, this record is very repetitive, and while it does work quite well for the most part, there are a few tracks such as Castle in the Distance that fall a bit short for me due to this and leave me kind of bored. Another thing is that I have to be in an extremely specific mood to get the most out of this album, which isn't exactly a bad thing, but compared to an album like Blaze, which I can put on any time and enjoy just as much, it just falters a little bit in my mind.
This album is so insanely raw and harsh, and it's definitely a mandatory listen. Some of my favorite tracks in this album include Bard of Satan's Son, Castle in the Distance, and As Flittermice as Satan's Spies. My overall thoughts on this record is that it deserves to definitely be talked about as much as it is, but so should the rest of the Trinity. Darkthrone has crafted the perfect formula for black metal, and over these past 3 reviews have shown insane talent at what they do. For anyone getting into black metal, I cannot recommend these 3 albums enough to you.
All that aside though, this album is a fucking classic and deserves its countless accolades. It's their most well-known and loved for a reason, and a perfect conclusion to one of the greatest 3 album runs in all of music. That's gonna be it for me. Fucking love this album. Make sure to subscribe to me, or something. Back to you, Lennon.
Thank you guys so much for sticking along with me for these past 3 videos, and thank you for watching my 3rd and final installment of it. Also, thank you to the Smooth Criminal for helping me out with this video. Don't forget to check out his channel as it will be the first link in the description. I hope you guys all enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one.